Hello and welcome back to the In the Money Media YouTube channel. Really excited about this video we have for you about the classic races on Saturday, not just Belmont at Saratoga that we have covered in other places on the In the Money Media YouTube channel, to which I encourage you all to subscribe so you don't miss any of our YouTube exclusive content, but also the Derby. And I've been told not to call it the Epsom Derby. It is the Derby. All others are just imitators. Is that about right, Adam Mills of Total Performance Data? Can't go around calling it the Epsom Derby in England anyway.
Oh, I'm so relieved you called it the Derby and not the Derby. I wouldn't have to correct you for the whole show. That's fantastic. Well done. Yes, it is technically the Derby. You can call it the Epsom Derby with me. I'm quite fine with that.
There's not a wager specifically, like a pre-programmed double connecting these bets. But of course, you have the opportunity to do it old school, do it manually. That's what I plan on doing. Getting up early, betting Epsom, of course, parlaying over into Saratoga. Really excited to bring back to the In the Money channels a man we've had on many times before for many popular appearances. He knows the world of bloodstock. He knows the business of horse racing. He knows betting. He is a Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge champion, in fact, and he has a really exciting product he's here to tell us about called Waigr. Joe Applebaum, how are things?
Pete, things are great. You actually bring back to the days when NYRA used to have parlay cards that you could take a pencil and blacken out 2 races, 3 races even, and slip the parlay card into the machine, and it would just parlay it for you, like your own little daily double, except with, rolling takeout. Back
Exactly.
in the day.
Rolling takeout, the problem with doing it twice, but you do have some other advantages that go along with it. Let's start with a little bit of a description, Joe, of Waigr and what it's all about. And if you're ready to tell us this part, where people might find it, then we'll loop back. Adam was on after the Derby, and we talked all about TPD, but we'll get to them in a minute. But right now, tell us about Waigr, because this might be the first time a lot of people in this audience are hearing about it.
Yeah, we're starting to roll things out this summer. After about 18 months under the cover doing R&D work. What we're really looking to do, Pete, is to provide retail customers with professional tools. So that starts right at the beginning with our model, right, which is machine learning driven. It has dozens and dozens of features snuck into it. We're using some fancy stuff called PyTorch to weed out what's important and what's not important. And that's just the start. We then package that with our ability to read the live odds, compare it to what we would call fair odds or wager odds, okay, and then employ various strategies that a professional gambler might use. And we do that all in packaging that makes it very easy for a consumer. You can see us right now on the NYRA Wager Pad. That's been our first deployment, especially in the app. It doesn't always show up on the website, but if you're using the NYRA Bets Wager app, you can the NYRA Bets wagering app, you can see wager suggested bets right under the lineup of horses, just about every race domestically. So that's our first rollout. If you want to check something out at wagerlabs.com, you'll see our ability to track all the movements of the tote, and we're hoping to roll out that second project later.
Data flows, parsing information. Sounds like you're looking to put computer tools in the hands of horse players, which is something people like Marshall Graham, for instance, have been calling, another BCBC champion, have been calling for many, many years.
Yes, Marshall and Paul Matisse, my old friend, really, you can limit CAW players, you can limit professionals, but these guys are real good at finding markets. So we need to put more sophisticated tools into the hands of, regular people and give them an opportunity. It's the same way now. You have an E-Trade account or you have an interactive brokerage account. The old days, you would have just called your broker and said, buy me 10 shares of this. Now you can do the research yourself. You can do the execution yourself, and it's a much better system. You're not a professional, but it's a heck of a lot better than it used to be.
When you're talking about innovative ways to play the horses, I think about some of the data we've been seeing and using from TPD. Adam was on for the Derby and we had a terrific time looking back at that race. These horses coming back again, we thought it'd be a great time to check in with him. But before we get into the actual form study / handicapping of the show, Adam, just give me the rundown again, because there's a lot of new people around here, even just in the last few weeks, about what TPD is and what you guys do.
So the aim for TPD is really to tell the story of a race. We provide data from 150 racetracks, 16 countries around the world, 1.6 million horses tracked. We're doing some really exciting things like launching in-running betting with GMAX and Equibase in the States using the GPS data. But the idea to do this is just, I said to you last time, I wear glasses because my eyes don't work. So the point of data is to put some context to some form. Is something really impressive? Was a horse unlucky? We measure a variety of different speed metrics during and after a race. We also do the traditional sectional times. We'll look at stride frequency, stride length, stride data. If you go to totalperformancedata.com, you'll find our full suite of products that are available, or drop a line to one of our team. I'm sure we'll be able to help.
You also work with some B2B partners, including the sponsor of this video, our friends over at Race Lens, presented by Equibase. They have a special going on right now. If you use the promo code TCRL99, you can get a quarterly subscription for just $99. Go to equibase.com, click on Race Lens. You'll get all the details. Equibase using the TPD data in their charts. And I believe on there, you have some ways of trying to mess around and model that data for yourself. Go to equibase.com and check out Race Lens. Don't forget that promo code, which is TCRL99. Okay, time to get down to the business end. Adam, we're going to talk about the Derby, and we're going to start with you, because when we get to Joe, he'll explain how he's approaching it. It's a little bit different than the way that most racing pundits would. Give us sort of an overview of what we can expect at Epsom. And don't just tell me that Aidan O'Brien holds a strong hand.
Oh, well, I crossed out line 1 on my notes. He does have a strong hand. For those who aren't aware, he had the 1, 2, 3 in the French Derby, the Prix de Jockey Club, last weekend. He's got a really strong hand this year. I can't really explain, unless you've been to Epsom, how unique this course is. It is probably the most undulating track in racing. 6 furlongs of climb from the start to the top of the hill, then a sharp left-hand bend coming down the hill to Tatton Corner. Then you turn into a straight that's just over 3 furlongs long, where there's around a 9% camber from right to left. It is undulating. Horses have got to handle this. As Pete has carefully wedged in, Aidan O'Brien always has a strong hand. He's won both classics, the Oaks and the Derby, multiple times. He's got a very good hand this year. The draw's been very kind to him. Shall I start and be obvious and say that the Aidan O'Brien trained favourite called Benvenuto Cellini has a great chance? He's been drawn in stall 12. He won the trial at Chester, which is the same trial that Lambourne won for the same trainer last year. He's out of newspaper of record by Frankel. He should definitely stay. But the key to Epsom is not necessarily the finish. It's the first 4 or 5 furlongs. That climb to the top of the hill is the key point, because it's the horses that win at Epsom are the ones who conserve energy, the ones who are efficient, the ones who get to the top of the hill and haven't used too much, because when they get down to the bottom, they've still got a 3 furlong climb up to the line. Those are the key ones. So we look for horses that can drop their stride frequency and that can relax. And Benvenuto Cellini stands out like a glowing red light in the darkness, because at Chester, he dropped his stride frequency right down to 2 strides per second. Lowest figure in the race. It's a perfect setup for him in stall 12. He's got his stablemate next to him in stall 11. They're going to be able to race together. There's another Aidan O'Brien runner called Christmas Day in stall 5, who's probably going to act as the pacemaker to stretch the field and make sure there's room. Benvenuto Cellini has an enormous stride. Peaked at over 27 feet at Chester. He's going to gallop through the line. It's going to be really suited. There's one tiny fly in the ointment, and that's it's raining. It's been raining yesterday. It's been raining today. It's due to rain tomorrow. Apple says Epsom has a 90% chance of serious showers tomorrow. If the ground turns soft, it's a real leveler at Epsom. You'll see jockeys exploring all parts of the track. Some will come up the camber to the stand side, thinking it's better ground. Others will hug the rail. It can get a little messy, but as long as the ground is good to soft, Benvenuto Cellini has to be your first bet.
Joe, I want you, before you get into your thoughts on the Derby, to tell me how you approach this.
So Waigr approaches things a little differently than the standard narrative, and Adam's narrative was so beautiful. I was actually loving listening to it. It made me feel good about myself. But we throw that's all thrown into our model. So we let the computer work out all of that. And what we do is for every race, every day, all across the United States and soon to be the world, we produce a win percentage, an estimated win percentage, and we convert that into odds. So let's just use Benvenuto Cellini, okay? We also make him the favorite, no surprise, okay? But we think of it a little differently. We give that horse a 48%, a touch over 48% chance to win, okay? So that means at even money or better than even money, we're betting on that horse. We're suggesting that horse. Last I looked, he was 2-1. I do not have the live odds model in front of me, but if he's at 2-1, that's tremendous value. Now, many people will say something like, oh, a 2-1 favorite, that's not value, blah, blah, blah. Well, that equates to about a 33% chance to win. And the last I checked, 48 is more than 33, and we want to eat up all that 15% difference. We want to eat all of that. So that's kind of the best, in sports gambling, you might call us steam chasers or something along the lines, but we're steam chasing based on our own origination, Pete. We've spent a lot of time, many years, making sure our feature set is right and that our model is looking at things that you might look at. Who's the trainer? What's his last race result? What was his speed figure? What's his high speed figure of his lifetime? What's the jockey's last 30 days look like? What's the trainer's last 90 days look like? The model takes all that and sorts it out for you so you can really focus on what we believe is the right way to attack a daily racing card, and that's looking for wagering opportunities as opposed to trying to figure out who's going to win the race. Right?
Yeah.
And that's really our focus. And if we look at this race, we say there's two horses that chew up about 70% of the win probability here. The aforementioned O'Brien runner and a horse named Item, who I believe is the second choice amongst the bookmakers as well.
7-2, the odds I'm seeing on that one to the 2-1 of Benvenuto. Yep.
Yeah. So we would make that horse about 3.65 to 1, about 7 to 2-ish goals. Probably not value right now, but certainly something to keep your odds on. The other thing, and if you want, I'm going to get into the race a little if you want from a value standpoint.
Yeah, roll through. We got a handful of minutes left here. We definitely got to get to the Belmont, but I don't want to cut you short.
The interesting thing in this race, and Adam mentioned it, is the ground being soft. So what do we know from research of ground being soft is that you're more likely to get a long shot runner in off going than you are in firm going. Okay. So, it's not the hugest variable, but it's about good for about a 10% bump to some of those horses. And interestingly, in this race, our numbers suggest that some of the craziest long shots, okay, are actually a little bit of value. And a lot of the second level horses that, are in the 5 to 10 to 1 range are undervalued and we would not bet. Now, I got to be honest, is it worth taking a shot on, let's say, Rebel Rocker? Okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not Rebel Rocker, the other way around. Is it worth taking a shot on a Taste of Glory that the last I checked on Bet365 was 250 to 1, and we have them at 50 to 1? Is that worth five pounds? I don't know. Maybe for some fun, right? So we have a number of these very long shot horses that look to be fairly priced. And so I would say stick with the favorites, but if you're worried about the ground, maybe look to a basket of the longest prices here, as opposed to, we would be fading horses like Maltese Cross and Pierre Bonnard, who have a decent chance to win. We make them about 4 and 5, 6% chance to win, but we don't think they're priced appropriately. They're priced more with like a 10 to 15% chance to win.
No, it's all about, at the end of the day, betting prices as opposed to betting horses. And I think Waigr, especially when you're going to be bringing in those money data flows you described, Joe, seems like a powerful tool to help people land on the right prices first, and then horses by extension. We've only got about 5 minutes left, so we got to get to the action in upstate New York this weekend. The Belmont at Saratoga, Adam. I'm curious to hear how your thoughts have evolved on this group of 3-year-olds since the last time we spoke, and get your idea of who's going to win.
Yeah, I don't think my thoughts on the 3-year-olds from the Kentucky Derby have really changed. I still hold to the view that Golden Tempo is the best horse. But as I said to you when we did the last show, when we reviewed it, I'm not sure this is going to be the race for Golden Tempo. I much prefer him for sort of a Breeders' Cup Classic at the end of the year, because I think he'll get a similar scenario. Last time it was a case of the tortoise versus the hare, and the tortoise got there, but the hare met a lot of trouble in running. And I don't think Renegade is as likely. He'd be certainly one of the most unlucky horses in history if he got so much trouble in running two Triple Crown races in a row. Renegade is the faster horse. He has the better stride frequency, he has the better turn of foot, he had the better top speed figure at Churchill Downs. I think in this case, I think Golden Tempo will be the fastest finisher, but he might not get there this time. The one I would really want to be against is Chief Wallabee. I don't see it. I don't see it. In the Kentucky Derby, he didn't run the fastest furlong split at any point in the race. I looked at his speed metrics from both the Florida Derby and the Kentucky Derby. They were second in the Florida Derby behind Commandment. I'm questionable about that form. In the Kentucky Derby, top speed ranked 9th, late speed 5th, run out speed after he crossed the line 4th. And he was over a second slower than both Renegade and Golden Tempo in the final 2 furlongs. Now, that's a lot of ground to make up in a smaller field. I just don't see it with this horse. Maybe he's turned the corner. Maybe he's been a slower project, but I'd hoped he would have won something by now to make me think he's in that category. I think of those from the Kentucky Derby, Renegade is the most likely winner because I think he has the turn of foot. There's not an endless amount of pace in here. Golden Tempo is going to need to be closer than he was in the Kentucky Derby. I watched the replay back before we came on air. He's out of the picture at halfway. The cameraman doesn't even see him. If he's that far back on Saturday, it's over. He won't get there. So I think Renegade is probably the bet. The one outside of the calf interests me is Growth Equity, because when we look at the average figures for a winner of a Grade 1 race over this distance at Saratoga, his stride profile, both stride length and stride frequency, meet nicely with that for a Grade 1 winner at Saratoga. The problem is that he did that at Aqueduct in the Grade 3 when he beat Talk to Me Jimmy, and I just think that level of form is a bit below the Derby.
No doubt.
Therefore, he's able to produce the data because he's not under as much pressure. I think he could run into a place. I'd be shocked if he can win it. I'm going to play him in an exacta. I'll probably put Renegade to beat Golden Tempo as one of my exacta plays. I'd probably have to throw Growth Equity in to hit the frame as well. But if Renegade is going to win a Grade 1 this year, this has got to be it.
Joe, normally at this point in the show, I might ask you something like, who's your idea of the winner? But instead, I'm going to ask you, run through this field quickly for us with your idea of the prices. And then if you do want to throw a little horse player opinion in there at the end, feel free to do that.
Okay. You want me to go every horse? Or
Why not? There's only 9.
Okay. Vitruvian Man, 115 to 1. No offense, Doug O'Neill. Power Shift, 21 to 1. Chief Wallabee, about 9 to 2. Renegade, 5 to 2. Otinho and Growth Equity, very curiously, we have them about 47, 48 to 1. Those are throwouts for us. Commandment, 7 to 1. Emerging Market, 6 to 1. And Golden Tempo, 5 to 1. Okay, those are our prices. So what
very evenly matched, among those top contenders.
So what does that tell me? 5 horses eat up over 90% of the win probability. So in my mind, I'm doing 2 things. I'm keeping my eye on the board and seeing what happens. For example, if Renegade's 5 to 2, let's hit the go button. If Renegade's 9 to 5, no thank you, I'll just watch the race. He's still our top choice, but not by that much, right? We have him at about a 28, 29% win percentage. The horse that seems to be of some value is Emerging Market at about 6 to 1 or better, right? I think that's a price you might get. And on the other way, Golden Tempo, not out of it, our third choice at 5-1. But considering it's the Derby winner, considering Cherie's well known in Saratoga from the community, like, are you really going to get that price? I doubt it, right? I doubt it. So really our strategies would be, one, be price hunting in like the daily double or win pools amongst the 5 obvious ones. And then 2, you should be spreading out into your, at the end of your multi-race bets, underneath in your exactas or your trifectas, right? Let's not try to pretend that we know the difference between emerging market at a 13.88 win percentage and Golden Tempo at a 16.57% win percentage. I'd love to pretend that we're that precise, but we just want to look for prices amongst the contenders would be. And if you want to be more aggressive earlier in the card with a horse like Nisos or Rhetorical, go ahead, and then you can pair it with this group at the end, and then, you know, you're hoping for the best.
Try to lock it up and cash out. That's the idea, whether you're playing manual doubles or the picks at the end of the card, or involved in one of the many contests that will be going on Belmont Stakes Day. Guys, we are over time. I'm very excited to have you both back, because we could have done an hour on honestly probably both of these races. There's so much to talk about and so many interesting wrinkles to both total performance data and wager, but we'll leave it here for now. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you so much to our friends over at RaceLens for sponsoring this video. Go to equibase.com, click on RaceLens to see more of what they have to offer for you. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatale. May you win all your photos.